Hoyahonen, cancel culture, folks. What's up with that? I'm just kidding. I don't really have anything to say about cancel culture. I just thought that would be a funny thing to lead in with. Cancel culture! That'd be funny if someone important got canceled tonight, and then tomorrow when I upload the episode, that would be like a trending subject, and people would be like, "Go listen to the cancel culture podcast," and then, I just don't really talk about it. It is funny when people say it doesn't exist, because that's just stupid. That's like the people who say, like, I don't like Elon Musk because CEO is not a real job. It's like, okay, well, like, now you just, I was, maybe you had something to say about why you don't like him, and then all of a sudden, and CEO is not a real job. I was like, well, it is a real job. I mean, he created companies that didn't exist before, and now they exist. I don't know. Like, then what else? Is president not a real job? Is Congress? Trump delegates everything, and the president... That's what I remember. Remember when Trump got elected? The president doesn't have that much power. So it's really not that big of a deal if you don't like him. He's delegating. It's like, yeah, he's delegating these random people. Listen to Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner looks like a character in an Uncharted game who is a villain, but not cool enough to be the main villain. He's like an opening heist villain. But he did seem to play an integral role in this coronavirus thing. Whatever. Soon we're going to be seeing I'm sorry about the political takes to get to the start, because, we got to, a lot of this shit's going to age poorly. I'm, basically just fucking inundated with internet information. I'm definitely not being a thorough academic about this. I have no degree. Really, no. I just have thoughts, and they're very erratic, and many of them are bad. I don't know. Everyone's going crazy during the quarantine. I think as long as I don't say any slurs on the podcast, no one's going to dig this up and make me look horrible. So I'm just going to do a no slur roulette. No, it's really not that hard for me to not use slurs. It's never been that much of an issue. I remember one time I met this guy outside of a comedy club, actually, and he said, like, oh, you're a comedian? Like, I always wanted to try that. And I was like, okay, well, there's an open mic on Monday. Here's the open mic on Tuesday. There's 2 open mics on Tuesday. There's 2 on Wednesday. There's 1 on Thursday, and then there's a few on Sunday. You could, really get up several times a week. It's a great town. This town is great to, get on stage. And he's like, how sensitive are people at the open mics? Are they sensitive? Are they triggered? And he didn't say it exactly like that, but, like, that's what I heard. Because, like, whenever someone uses that form of rhetoric, there's automatically the voice I'm going to hear it in. So I said, no, not really. I mean, there may be a few sensitive people, but most people there are comedians who understand that, if you say something awful, you were trying to be funny, and it may have not gone over well, but, you're not going to get... It's incredibly rare that people get banned from open mics for the things that they say in this town. I've heard Portland, Oregon, you tell a retard joke, and they will just make up a rumor that you sexually assaulted someone. They are very cutthroat out there, from what I've heard from some of the people. Was it Portland? Maybe it was Seattle. I don't know. Someone from one of those Pacific Northwest towns was telling me about the ridiculous, stringent... I don't know. Everyone who seems to be telling me stories about different scenes being, like, overly liberal are people who are themselves, they might be a bit on the conservative side. Like, the SJWs, they can't take anything. And then you're like, oh, well, what did you do? And there's like, well, there's this transgender woman, a man, and I just called her a man. I called her him, because she's a man. And I was like, oh, okay, well then, that seems like you kind of tried to get yourself banned by, blatantly being hateful towards a person based on their gender. That doesn't sound that much like the SJWs taking over, personally. That's my take on the situation. So I guess you do got to ask some prodding details when someone tells you that the local open mics can be a little bit sensitive. But anyways, back to this guy outside the club. So club guy, he says, I just really, I want to get edgy with it. And I'm like, you can get edgy. There's plenty of very successful people in this town who are edgy. The person that comes to mind, Chris Kinback, a fun guy. I had him on one of my shows that I ran in Melrose, and he used to run a nice show in South Boston. He's an edgy guy. He's very successful. People like him. He doesn't make anyone feel uncomfortable because we know it's just jokes. But then he kept saying, are you sure they're not going to be too sensitive? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I have some pretty dark jokes myself. I've worked, every now and then you write a joke that's like abhorrently dark, and it works. You know, you're better for it. And sometimes you write a joke that's squeaky clean and it works. And you know, you gotta figure out where to put this there. And can I even have a clean joke in the same set as a dirty joke, and vice versa? And how do I construct this whole thing to have like one cohesive meaning, and blah blah blah? And then he says, "Because really, what I need to be able to do is I need to be able to say faggot." And I was like, oh. I was like, that was an unnecessary amount of buildup you gave me by asking me like he asked me the same question about people being sensitive. He paraphrased it slightly, like 4 times in a row. It led to like 3 minutes of conversation, and then he just hits me. Like, he could have just asked me from the get-go, like, are you allowed to say faggot? And I would have just been like, good luck. Anyways, I never saw that guy at an open mic, so maybe I have a feeling the reason I never saw him has nothing to do with him realizing that getting on stage in front of a room full of strangers and using a homophobic slur is wrong, though. I feel like the reason he didn't show up is something else. I think it was more just like an effort thing. I don't think he had this deep realization, like, maybe I shouldn't go say faggot to a bunch of strangers. Yeah, that's not how he sounded either, but it's fun voice. Joe Biden picking the VP. Is it going to be a white woman? Is it going to be a woman of color? Who knows? I think it would personally be hilarious if Joe Biden picked like a Greek woman or an Italian woman and like thought that counted as a woman of color. Like, I think that would be the hilarious possible outcome. And then like say it's a Greek woman and he would be like, well, let me tell you don't know about the color of my day. All right, I come from different America. You know, when all these people came with we heard falafel and Baba Gawat, we heard terrorism. And this was, of course, before 9/11. Back then, terrorism was just a young girl just pushing you off of her. And it's, people are saying about me. They're saying that, you know, I'm a little too handsy. America is a hands-on country. If you don't think that I should be planting a kiss on my granddaughter's lips, then maybe you don't like it when we planted American flags straight through the chests of innocent people in Iraq. Just a bloodbath of dead civilian bodies lying with the red, white, and blue stripes emanating for them. And that's why we say the Pledge of Allegiance in class. And I know some of you liberals, that some of you young liberals, you millenniums, Joe Rogan is what you're doing, and but you gotta understand, Joe Rogan, he's lifting weights, he's a bully. I've never lifted a weight in my life except for the weight of my young granddaughter. When she was 8 years old, I lifted her up, kind of rubbed her chest against mine on the way. There was a little bit of friction, because that's the kind of friction that we have in America. In America is what we do. I'm Joe Biden for America. And yeah, I'm running with some Greek bitch. I don't give a shit. Joe Rogan is worried about the trans fighters with the hands. Big hands. The hands of I think, and people are saying Joe Rogan is talking about the trans fighter with a hand, and they're talking about my hands, that I'm using too many hands, but I don't think we should keep talking about hands, because Donald Trump was talking about hands. He said, yeah, he's got small hands. Does he got big hands? Does he got small hands? That was the Republican primary. I think we should stop talking about hands and start talking about what's right for America. The feet of America. I love feet. I love it when my granddaughter has open-toed shoes showing her feet. It's very American. It's the traditional values we've got to return to. A woman with open-toed shoes. It's the summer. It's American. Pretend to drop something down there. I reach down to pick it up. I take a good whiff. That's what it's meant to be in America. It's the aroma of victory, not the aroma of defeat. It is the aroma of the feet, but not defeat. Because it's what we're doing. And this assless chap, Johnny Walker over here, is trying to tell me that my mind's no good. But Trump said the person manned the camera TV. And I say to him, dog, pony, Ridgemont, Malarkey, Wentworth. And people ask me what those mean. Those were the words. Those were the codes. The codes to get in the gate from the dream. You see, because I'm someone with a dream. And my dream had a gate with codes. Codes to get in. Codes to get in to let you see all sorts of beautiful colors. That's what we have. And that's what we're working with here. And you got to, you know, that when you're calling with codes in America, But that's just the thing. That's just the if I was doing this in front of a live studio audience, it would be killing. That would be the funniest thing I ever said. Hilarious. Should have prepared more, shouldn't I have? I sent out a lot of tweets today, and none of them got any likes. It's gonna suck later when I just go and delete all them. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we looking at here? It's 9:39 p.m. on a Sunday. I don't have anything to do tomorrow, so just a little bit of interview preparation. I guess for a while there I was worried. I actually had a friend, he listened to the podcast. He said, "Hello, I was just listening to your podcast," which honestly, I posted this shit. I didn't actually expect anyone to listen, so thanks for listening. And he was like, "I noticed you said you were out of work. Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. What are you I'm talking to myself for an hour and uploading it to the internet, and I don't have a job. Like, you think that means I'm not okay?" Strange. I don't understand why he possibly could have thought that me starting a podcast where I just speak into a microphone alone while staring at a poster of Spider-Man. I'll upload a picture of it just so you guys can see exactly what I'm seeing. Why would he think that would be cause for concern? Don't be silly. I'm goofing around. I'm taking some time off. I'm having fun. No, it was actually pretty scary in May and for part of June when it felt like it was impossible to even get an interview on the phone. Now the market's starting to open up a little bit, so I'm getting a little bit of a pipeline, and I can, hope is coming out, which is good because they're cutting the unemployment. So hopefully I can make that last until I finally get a job. But I got a lot of opportunities, and once you get a lot of opportunities, it's only a matter of time before you score one down. And it is kind of gonna it's gonna suck a little bit going back to work, though. I'm enjoying this nice little garden leave. Yeah, that's like a British people have this like polite word, garden leave, which just means that you like aren't working, and they call it garden leave. Hey, well, you want a bit of garden leave? Oh. One thing that sucks is that this room is hot and I can't turn the AC on because I get picked up by the goddamn mic. That's what you get for buying a $55 mic off Amazon. This is actually a really good cash value, though. Came with a nice little mic stand, podcasting mic. I got my Zoom XLR. I'm doing great. This is gonna work. I'm surprised I actually managed to do this 2 weeks in a row. I really thought this was gonna be like a thing, and then I dropped it, and then it was bad, and then Jesus is sad because I'm being an idiot, and then, I go to, instead of doing the podcast, I just masturbate, and, speaking of masturbation, you guys aren't going to trick me into watching the sex tape of Ben Shapiro's sister. I'm not going to do it. I almost did. You almost tricked me. But then I realized that she is only 20 years old now, and who knows how old she was when the sex tape came out. Uh-oh. You watch that thing, you might be in trouble. I thought about it, and then I did the math. I said that shit was... that shit might be a little bit too old. She might not be old enough in the tape. Don't want to type that in. I think the FBI already saw that I typed it, but didn't push enter, because I caught myself in that moment. I was like, you got me. You almost got me. Oh boy, she is quite a looker, though. I'll probably get canceled for this, for talking about an adult woman that is attractive and then suggesting that I almost inadvertently looked up a video of her having sex when she was underage. That's probably what's gonna do it, I imagine. I feel like I went out of the gate too hot with that one. I did not prepare what I was gonna say, and I admitted too much. I showed my hand. Hey, look, I was honest. Didn't push enter. FBI is going to text me right now and be like, "Bro, why are you lying?" No, I didn't watch the thing. It would be pretty horrendous. I feel like it's like a 50-50 shot at this point. Like, because, she was like old enough to have sex, but then, possibly not old enough to be an adult. It's not a 50-50 shot I would want to gamble with, and you shouldn't either. You should not either. I was looking up her on Know Your Meme, though, because it seemed all of a sudden Twitter, it just, like, fucking gets on these things, and they try to act like it's been around for a while. That is kind of like the thing. It's like, I just discovered this thing, and anyone else who doesn't know it, is not in on it, is just a huge piece of shit. They should kill themselves. They should just delete their account. They're horrible. Delete their account in life, drink bleach, whatever you want. That's the mentality these days. The same people who have this mentality will frequently tweet about how mental illness is unseen and how you should blah, 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 blah. blah blah blah. Anyways, I was reading about her Know Your Meme, and Know Your Meme was saying that they made her a waifu, which the anime people, it's like, you know, the 4chan people, which thankfully never really a place I've spent much time, but the 4chan people, they love anime, and for some reason they use this Chinese word waifu to describe like a woman who is fetishized. I would say that probably 9 times out of 10, a waifu is a term being used by like a fat 33-year-old man with sleep apnea to refer to like a 15-year-old girl, Asian girl, 15-year-old Asian girl. The bright side is that the girl is usually a fictional character, so I don't think it technically counts as pedophilia, but it doesn't seem like a great look either, honestly. Yeah. Not entertaining is a great look. I would say yeah, horrible look, which is why none of these people use their actual photo on these websites. And the waifu, people complain about the Gen Zs. They're like, "Oh, it slaps. That ain't it, chief." Lit, you know, whatever they say. I mean, I'm close enough to the age cutoff where I use half those phrases myself. Anyway, I feel like we should be way harder on the like internet people that are like, "It's a small bean. It's a small bean, and I want a waifu." And people who say doggos, you know, that started as an internet thing, and now people say it out loud. And, like, I kind of hope that their dog gets rabies and immediately turns on them. You know? The thing that they refer to so affectionately as a doggo. There would be something so inherently hilarious about that animal just foaming from the mouth and turning on its own owner and really getting a good bite in. I don't want anyone to die. Both of the animals will be fine. The actual animal and the human animal that is an animal because they're going around, you know, as a dignified adult, but calling a doggo, my doggo and my pupper. The internet has damaged a lot of people's brains. I mean, it's damaged my brain. That's why I've started this whole thing in the first place. You know, just to get it out there, just to try to get down to brass tacks. You know, when I was at a job I used to have, there was this guy named Brandon. And on the first day of him working there, we were having lunch as a team. And one of the first things he said, I said, "Oh, this is horrible. I just saw in the news there was a black dude. He was arrested." And he said, "Can I get a lawyer dog?" And the judge actually ruled that that was not him invoking his Seventh Amendment right? Seventh, I believe. If I'm wrong, it's the Sixth. Anyways, the judge said that that was not him invoking his Seventh Amendment right, because he said lawyer dog, like, you know, some kind of cartoon dog lawyer, which is obviously not what he meant. He was using a colloquialism, "I'm sorry." And then this guy really said, like, "Oh, that's great. It's great that proper English has prevailed." And I was like, "Are you retarded? Like, this is a judge clearly being racist and not allowing a black man to have his constitutional right to a lawyer." And he's literally, it couldn't be more like poetic. He's using black colloquialisms against him. He's like, "Oh, you have to make everything about race, don't you?" I was like, what the fuck did you think? Like, you thought that this was literally about some fucking, what, My Fair Lady sound in, "You have to speak proper in my courtroom. You cannot be asking for a dog. You must be asking, 'I invoke my right to a law.'" That's not what it was about. It was about, he used black language, and then when you use black language, white people say, "Aha, the ace in the hole." I mean, this judge invented a new way to be racist in the letter of the law. And, you know, maybe he's trying to pass it off as this My Fair Lady bullshit. Anyways, this was a few years ago. And then we would go out for drinks, you know, people at the company, and people would get drunk, and they would tell me that this guy was not good at his job at all, which is concerning, because he got hired for a job that was like 2 or 3 levels above me, probably clearing like 50% or more of my salary. And then he actually became my manager a few months later. And he was horrible at his job, really horrible, not liked by anyone. Just a bad seed, a bad guy. And then I decided, you know, kind of that and a few other factors, maybe decided to move on from that company. It wasn't his management style as much as that he was very insufferable in meetings. And being my boss, we had to frequently have meetings. And I didn't want to interact with him at all in any capacity. Like, not a little bit. He was quite insufferable. He would take meetings that were supposed to be 45 minutes, make them 90, but he wouldn't, say anything. He would just be like, I think we failed to consider that. He would take a sentence that said, like, he said, let's say it was increase page load speed by 20%. He's like, do we want to really increase page load speed by 20%? It's like, who cares? It's just a fucking arbitrary goal. Like, we're building an app here. We don't need to fuck it, We're just saying that so that the people upstairs who don't know what the fuck they're doing, they can be like, hey, they're going to increase page load speed by 20%. Like, we're not actually going to do that. We're just going to build this app. We're just fucking for some reason, they have this childish concept in some companies where you have to, like, feed up goals. They're called OKRs. It's a very arcane and stupid thing. So we decided, hey, that looked good. Increase page load speed by 20. We're like, are we sure that we don't mean that we want a 20% page load increase for 100% of users? And then somehow these other people in the meeting would, like, buy into this, dignify his argument, maybe because he was in a position of leadership. It was ridiculous. I mean, if I were wiser, I would have said, like, hey, Brendan, you're not saying words right now. You're saying words. They don't mean anything. You're just padding the time out of this meeting. Everyone hates you. Shut the fuck up. And then, I probably would have gotten a raise or fired. But anyway, so I had to leave that company. But the moral of the story is that if someone like that can get hired for such a high position, in leadership, then I should probably be fine. I'll probably I already had a real job too. I'll probably be fine. I hope that guy's doing well. I also found out that he talked about how much he loved to sit in his home naked in the summer when he interviewed. Someone just let that slip as a random candid detail. Which is like, fine. Like, it's what do you do in the privacy of your own home is fine. It's just a strange thing to be divulging during an interview. Like, I get, like, sometimes people have to say, like, oh, by the way, he's mentally ill and I need to come in late every Tuesday because I have therapy. Like, that's a little bit like, oh, it's a little personal, but you had to say it, and, because before we hire you should know they can't come in and we're not allowed to discriminate. There's really no reason to divulge that you like to sit at home naked, though. I can't think of one. I guess maybe it means if he's working from home, you should always call him audio before calling him video? I don't know. I'm not sure what he meant to get across by sharing that. But he got hired. He was probably making well over $120,000 a year, if I had to guess. So, this should have. I'm drinking Willie's Super Brew. I don't know if I already said that. This stuff's pretty good. It's kind of like seltzer with the hard seltzer with like a kombucha twist. Kombucha. I love kombucha unironically, and I don't like any of those colorful sweet ones. I like the Kavita tart cherry, raspberry is good. There's the lavender blueberry or whatever it's called. Some of the GTs are okay. I like the Gingerade. I like the Cayennade. That watermelon shit is just too much for me. I love a nice bitter kombucha. And I don't like the seltzers too much. But since this is sort of a seltzer with a kind of a fermentation spin to it, it's got a little bit of that booch flavor. I mean, there was a while there where I wasn't drinking at all. Every time I was drinking a kombucha, someone would be like, be careful. Kombucha has alcohol in it. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Don't be. Obviously, as someone who drinks it regularly, I'm aware that there's an alcohol content. You fucking moron. It says it on the bottle. How did you know kombucha? I'm not gonna get drunk. You can't get drunk from drinking kombucha. Stupid bum idiot. It's got like it's like O'Doul's. I'm sorry, I don't have much of a punchline to that rant, but I don't know, people. But they'll say the same thing about O'Doul's, though, won't they? But O'Doul's, drink a couple of those. Will you get drunk at all? They're like, no. And it's just a ratio of the alcohol to fluid is just so much that your body cannot actually process it and get you drunk. It just does not happen. I don't know. I've then heard the thing spin like, you can drink 1 or 2 glasses of red wine a day when you're pregnant. And I looked it up, and it's like, there have been some studies that showed that it didn't do anything, and there's been other studies that hinted towards that it might be bad. It's definitely not something you should gamble with, but, men shouldn't speak about what women can do with their bodies. Yep, it's true. If I impregnate a girl, I don't have any right to complain if she drinks and smokes that baby away. I mean, I would actually probably be on board with that. I don't want to have a child. And, if she decides that that is the way she wants to terminate that pregnancy, then power to her. It's a woman's right to choose. This part is bad. I should stop being such a puss. I do the same thing about the Shapiro. I gotta commit. That's my problem. I can't break through. I can't break through, folks. I can't break through and commit. I'm gonna commit. Well, you need a decisive leader who'll compromise, and he'll commit to what's best for America. You see what Obama did when Obama dropped a bomb on Syria. He wasn't just sending a message. He said, "Hey man, this is the Geneva Convention, and you're not gonna whisk it away. You're not gonna whisk it away on the telephone, okay? You're not gonna put it on an old red flyer sled and just sled it away. There's no wagons here." I'll tell you, my kid was riding around on his big wheel, and I said, "That's not how they did it in Syria. They didn't have big wheels in Syria. They had little. All the wheels were very little, and we had to show them some manners first, which is why we didn't put boots on the ground. Now I put my boots in the air. And then I just let someone kind of rub on my stomach, and I put my boots up in the air, and she rubs on my stomach, and she gives me a little raspberry. She says, "Joe, you've been a good boy." In a time in the nursing home, it was person, man, camera, malarkey, and you know it. And that's really something that Bernie Sanders and I differed on. Bernie Sanders said, "Joe, you can't be getting these raspberries on the campaign trail," which is why I'm picking a woman for my VP. I'm picking a woman. A Greek woman named fucking Arabella Trifoni. She's not a phony. Her last name is Trifoni, and I was as concerned as you were as an American. But then when we get all the facts, we can see this is best. It's a compromise. Her last name just sounds like a phony. It is not a phony. She's not a phony. But who is as phony as Donald John Trump? And I can't wait to test my mental capacity in a game of Quiz Bowl with him. I'm as sharp as I took the Amtrak train all across the world. I took the Amtrak train to Malta. It was a tax haven, and I told those billionaires, "Hey, you keep doing what you're doing." They tried to Panama paper me. I was like, "I'll Panama paper right up your ass, pal. I'll shock it to him. I'll shock it to Donald Trump. I'll shock it to him. I'll shock it to his daughter as well. Shock. I'll go into a drawer and I'll steal her socks. I'll go into them. I'll steal her socks and all of her underwear, and I will build a shrine. I'll build a shrine. I'll try to make my own granddaughter wear them. You see? We take our enemy's best playbook and the tools, we use them against them. Because this is America. Maybe I am going insane. Oh, Spider-Man. He's so buff in these old comics. Now they have Spider-Man being like twinkish, but for a lot of the 80s and 90s, Spider-Man was actually a very, very strong, if he had his shirt off, he'd probably look more like Channing Tatum than Tom Holland. But then they kind of dialed him back continuously. I think they're going more over the Ultimate Spider-Man, where he's very strong. He can lift up a car, but he does not have the build of someone who's so insanely strong. He could lift up a car. But it is an interesting change in the aesthetic. I guess the Tom Holland version, it looks more agile because he's young and he's kind of short, and he can get down those low positions. He can do little flips. I don't know if Tom Holland literally can do the flips himself. Maybe. I feel like I saw a video of him training where he did some of his own flips, but I don't know. It's CGI half the time. But yeah, I guess look at this guy's muscles. It's crazy to think that this guy is flying through the air and doing these crazy acrobatics when he has this almost footballish build, like a basketball build kind of. Yeah, he's thick though. He's got very thick muscles. It's good. It's good artwork though. It's classic. I'll upload a picture of it. The deadliest 100 yards. Kill him. The web slinger must not escape alive. That is what one of the henchmen is saying, and they're all firing guns at Spider-Man, and they're missing. And Spider-Man is jumping through the field goal because they're inside a football stadium. A football field becomes a raging. Oh, I'll do it in the Stan Lee voice. R.I.P. Stan Lee. A football field becomes. Can I do a Stan Lee voice? I should have rehearsed. I rehearsed the Biden one. Wow! Excelsior! A football field becomes a raging battleground as Spider-Man fights to save an innocent child. That was not the worst Stan Lee impression ever, but it was definitely not a good Stan Lee impression. Like, if they ever need to hire a voice imitator to do Stan Lee, I don't believe they would answer my call. I don't believe it at all. Now, the sad thing is that this is only my second time doing a solo episode, and I have completely wasted the read the entire Spider-Man poster bit, which is not good. Which is, now I was really going to use that as an ace in the hole, where I described this wooden... It's not actually really a poster. It's like a wooden thing with the cover of an old comic pressed onto it. It's cool. It's some kitschy thing. It's probably from the fucking Christmas tree shops or something. Which is weird. There's a store here where you just buy like cheap ass odds and ends, and I'm sure there's equivalent stores elsewhere, but I think there's a regional thing in New England. And people call it the Christmas tree shop, but if you look at the sign, the actual title is Christmas Tree Shops. And everyone always gets that wrong, probably because it doesn't make much sense as a store name, because it's just, you're only going into one store. The name of each individual store is the name of all the stores. I don't know. I feel like it's a clerical error. Like someone just fucked up and then they printed a shitload of signs that said Christmas Tree Shops. You had some cool odds and ends there. You buy anything electronic, there's a 0% chance it's going to work. There's also Ocean State Job Lot, which I assume has to be regional since Ocean State is none other than Rhode Island. All right. Let's get down to a different brass tacks. I should have pulled this up ahead. The brass tacks, folks. The brass tacks. Tacks that are brass. A girl I went to elementary school with is messaging me, and she keeps saying things like, that's cool and congrats, and I keep answering her questions without being amicable and saying, like, thanks. I sound like a sociopath online sometimes. I just don't have the energy always. Now I know that I'm doing something wrong, and I'm going to just continue speaking to her with the brass tacks. Because what can I say? I'm a brass tacks guy. There's absolutely no fluff or filler ever on my podcast. There's never has been. The entire Spider-Man thing was very important to a point I'm going to bring up later. Maybe, if I can think of one. All right. So, a couple of things you got to understand. Which one we've gone over in a previous episode, but I will go over it again. Anyway. Okay. So, in the area north of Boston, known as the North Shore, there is a popular sandwich that very many places sell. These are Greek-owned establishments, and presumably, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe the presumption is that Greek immigrants came here, they knew how to make food. White Americans, because as we discussed earlier, Greeks, as Joe Biden says, not white. No, but most Americans didn't want to eat, whatever Greek food they were making, so they figured out how to make pizza, and then eventually, they figured out how to make subs, steak and cheese, all the popular ones, Italian sub, whatever. Then they figured out this roast beef sandwich, which was kind of a thing that's unique to them in this specific part of the country. And it's not that complicated. It's just shredded roast beef. Usually the best is, cut right off the actual rump, or whatever the fuck it is. It is James River sauce, which is a spicy vinegar barbecue sauce from South Carolina. And generally cheese is on the bottom. And it has these sort of sandwich rolls. There's some variants there. Sometimes the larger ones are on an onion roll. But the cheese goes on the bottom. Some places are squids and put the cheese on the top X, and some places do both. The traditional beef sandwich, if you will, is a three-way, which means that there is sauce, cheese, and mayonnaise. And some people only get sauce and cheese. There's one. So before I get ahead of myself, there is a Facebook group dedicated to the sandwich, which has been popular probably since the 70s or 80s, and is still fairly popular today. This Facebook group, when I tell people I'm in it, they ask, "Oh, how big is that Facebook group?" Sarcastically, I answer honestly. It is about 17,000 people. Kind of large for a sandwich review group. Anyways, it's a bunch of mentally ill people from who look like my relatives, because my mom's entire side of the family is from this region. So maybe I find that something endearing. And no matter what you post, you will be bullied. Not in like a fun ball busting way, but in, they had to recently pass a rule where you're not allowed to tell people to kill themselves. That the fact that people are willing to respond, kill yourself because you poorly reviewed a sandwich, or you wrote a well written review of a sandwich that was bad, that's a quality that I find to be hilarious. That people are that militant now about sandwiches. So they've recently allowed video reviews. So just as a fun goof, whenever I'm hungry and want to go get a sandwich, I make a fun little 2-minute video. I post it up. It gets maybe like 30 likes. It gets maybe like 200 comments, and they all say, "Hey, fuck you. You're not funny. Delete this." They don't say kill yourself because that has been made against the rules, but they say like, it's weird. One of the rules is like no homophobic remarks, but you're allowed to be like, "You suck cock." So I'm not really sure where the line is exactly drawn in that rule. You are no longer allowed to compare beefs to vaginas, which was a staple of the humor of this group, was posting a picture of a very sloppy wet roast beef sandwich and being like, "It looks like a vagina and therefore I would put my penis in it." Like, so, people have been struggling with the jokes now that. Anyways, this was fun. It's a fun group and people like to troll in it. And, for me, it was during quarantine. It would get so boring. And I was in this dumb group because a friend added me. And I would see these delicious looking sandwiches. And I'd be like, "Oh, that place is like a half hour away. I want to get out of my apartment because I haven't done shit all day because it's a quarantine." So I just get in the car, drive about 30 minutes, get myself a sandwich, drive back. Maybe sometimes I post a review. I was a little bit stagnating with the writing. So writing a review at least was like, all right, you got to try to fucking make a bunch of jokes for these fuckers. And they're all complete, they're mentally ill, which is my people. They're not well. Nothing about their lifestyle seems healthy. Many of them have added me as real friends on Facebook, and I get to see their main pages, and that's much worse. These are 45-year-old men who are up at like 3 in the morning drinking in parks. Many of what they post is just completely incoherent. I'm surprised anyone is able to survive who is in this group, especially given the fact that the roast beef is their primary sandwich, which is basically mostly ingredients that you're buying. It's like buttered white bread, red meat, a spicy sauce, mayonnaise, and cheese. American cheese at that. The least processable cheese by the human body. Anyways, I've had some fun. So these girls, the other day, these hot girls who were at the beach in bikinis, thought that they would have some fun, and that was a mistake. So I don't know this girl, but I know these. Once she's, I'll try not to get ahead of myself. This girl joins the group. She posts a picture of herself eating a sandwich in a bikini. You can't actually see the sandwich, so new to the group, didn't understand the rules. Maybe seems like she was intentionally trying to poke the beehive a little bit. So she posts this picture of herself in a bikini opening her mouth, slowly putting a roast beef sandwich, or what appears to be a roast beef sandwich. Honestly, you can't see the sandwich at all. Her hands are completely covering it. You just see a little bit of the bread entering her mouth. And she says, "I give the beef to bun ratio a 10 out of 10. BBQ sauce drizzle was perfect. Beef wasn't soggy. Price point was $10. But who am I kidding? I would have given my right arm for this beef. Hashtag peace love beef. Rock on, beefers." So she thought it was fun that she could join it, and instead of posting a picture of the sandwich, she just shit posts a picture of her, in a bikini. I get it, because she's like some young airhead girl that thought it was funny. So naturally, this has like 450 comments on it, and boy, is it a pit. It is great. People saying, "Get fucked. What is this bullshit?" Many people saying, "Where's the beef?" which is not that funny. Someone says, "Get fucked," and then someone responds, "I think she needs to." What the fuck has this page become? North Shore jabronis. I hope you got sand in that beef. Beef wasn't soggy. Fucking congratulations. A bunch of gifs of Greta Thunberg saying, "How dare you." Worst review in the history of the page. Turn around, walk into the ocean, and keep walking. I love how mean these. It's like she thought, like, ha ha ha, like, I'm gonna poke fun at these guys, and she And, you know, it would have been funny if she stayed the course. But instead, she had to invite her friends to the group to come to her defense. Now, if you're going to try to poke a beehive in a group full of insane people, you gotta commit to the bit. You can't immediately turn around and be offended when they say a bunch of horrible things back to you. Which brings us to our next point, our next fun little comic. One guy said, "I'll give you the beef," insinuating that he was, gonna have sex with the girl. Very predatorial and rapey. I am surprised it took like 100 comments before someone said something like, rapey towards this girl. I'm honestly impressed with the group for letting the picture be up that long. All right, now this is hilarious. Gonna say, this woman comes out of nowhere. This other woman who's in the group, not trolling. She says, "Girl, if you wanted to take a selfie of you eating beef for a bunch of hapless ass dudes, you could have started an OnlyFans instead of posting this horrid review." Great chirp. I mean, again, it's the roast beef review group. People are gonna chirp if you try to shitpost. It's a bunch of insane people who are obsessed with sandwiches. Like, everyone already knows that, and I think she knew it too. She just underestimated the response. So now we got sort of a fray of challengers, and one of them happens to be a name I ain't heard in a long time. It was this girl that I went to elementary school with, who I have not spoken to since 5th grade, so who cares? But she comes in and she says, "OnlyFans? You think this post was serious? LOL, girl, take a look in the mirror and stop posting disgusting thirst traps." Now, it's weird because, she then admitted that this was a troll post that wasn't serious. But now she's clearly taking it seriously because she has very thin skin. You can't troll like that and then be a fucking little bitch about it when you're counter-trolled. I mean, you should always expect counter-trolling when you're trolling. You fucking broke character, you idiot. So anyways, now it becomes like this, privileged, wealthy girl going to shit with this like woman of the North Shore, saying she's posting disgusting thirst traps, and then she went on like the fucking beach dumb blonde girls page, and she like took this like sorority looking photo and she posted that, and that was just like the ace in the hole because she just captioned it, "Just me and my BFFs girls trip." Hilarious. It's always funny when you just go on someone's page and take a photo of them that makes them look bad and then share it, and then, it's the ace in the hole for all arguments. You just go on their page, find a picture of them that they uploaded voluntarily, and then gotcha. Boom. So anyways, this girl loses her shit and tries to say, "People are legit insane for being so mean about fucking roast beef." And it's like, yeah, we already knew that. That's the point of the group. Like, the joke is that people are very, very insane about and obsessed about roast beef and overly mean. Like, you knew that when you joined. And now you're just being a little bitch about it because you tried to troll and people told you to join OnlyFans and called you a dumb bitch. Yeah. Don't fucking join the group and then act like you don't get the central crux of the group. Anyways, then she went on to say, "Y'all are white trash crazies." And plot twist, this guy says back to her, "Please respect my heritage, racist bigot," in reference to her saying white trash. She responds to him, "I am 100% Persian, so you can stop being racist." Now, I'm not sure exactly when she thinks this guy was being racist. She called him white trash, and he said, "Respect my heritage, racist bigot," as a joke. He didn't actually say anything that was racist. But anyways, then she says, "I'm 100% Persian, so you can stop being racist." And he said, "That actually makes sense, seeing how stupid you are." Hilarious. He has won the argument. There is no need for further comments. In fact, she left the group after that comment. Now, I am not advocating for anti-Persian racism. However, she thought that I've been in Facebook arguments before where there was like a girl who said something and then this guy went, "Yeah, typical white girl." And then she said, "I'm actually from North Africa." And then she won the argument. But the thing is, that was like a group full of millennials. In millennial speak, with the rules of society we have, that would be considered a winning argument. She was off the reservation. She was talking to actual North Shore white trash, and she thought bringing up the fact that she was a person of color would somehow be this trump card, and then he just said, yes, I agree, because Persians are dumb. And she got upset and quit. And it was really beautiful. I don't know if anyone else is ever going to appreciate it as much. This is the worst episode. I hope next week's episode is better. Next week, I should just do ketamine. I don't know where to get it or really what it does at all. But I bet if I did ketamine, this is every time I'm at like a Fish concert, there's always someone who's like, hey, you want to do a bump of ketamine? I'm like, oh, no, thank you. Like, why not? I was like, I'm on antidepressants. She goes, this is the classic. You do know that ketamine is prescribed as an antidepressant? I was like, yeah, in like a clinical setting, not fucking in a seat at a hockey stadium, you fucking weirdo. Like, I already had 6 beers. I'm pretty sure ketamine is not an antidepressant in this. I don't even think you're supposed to be standing up when you take it as an antidepressant. Fucking nuts. Tweezer. That's a Fish song, for those of you who aren't acquainted. Fish is fun. Not going to see him for a while. Not going to see a lot of things for a while. The thing that I really won't see for a while is the face of someone I respect, because I have lost the respect for every person around me during quarantine. Not everyone, just the people who are active on social media, who in some respects are the only people I see, Oh, great. I just got a Twitter notification from Larry. Larry is probably the only person I'd be willing to have on this podcast. He's an amateur pornographer from Wyoming. Sometimes he just posts pictures of his cock on the TL. I think he's a gun nut. Oh, he posted another dick pic. He keeps posting dick. What's this? Is this the... Oh, no, that was the one he posted the other day. My bad. Larry, his penis is so shaved. Now I got Larry's cock up on my laptop. Thank God this is an audio-only podcast. You guys don't see that. Yeah, I'm not sure how he produces pornography in Wyoming. Like, I didn't know that there was a pipeline of talent there. But there's a lot of things I don't know about a lot of places. In a lot of industries. And I don't know anything. I just know that I'm mildly amused by my own impression of Joseph Biden. Which I found if you got a thing that you're mildly amused with the thing, then you got to keep it on, keep hanging it up on the refrigerator, keep shelling it out, keep going to the corner store and hanging up a flyer, because that's what you want, a thing. Hugging a thing that you like. It doesn't matter. Is it a 9-year-old girl? Is it a 14-year-old girl? Is it an adult woman? And when I heard the allegations of Tara Reid, I was very upset, because I respected her a lot. If I didn't respect her, I wouldn't have sexually assaulted her. She seemed like such a fine woman. A fine woman who I respected. And I was upset to find out that she remembered being assaulted by me, because quite frankly, frequently I don't remember anything. That's why I write things down. They tell me, you keep a copious note. Donald Trump doesn't write things down. He doesn't do the math. The math I can do. He probably wrote it down, the person, woman, window malarkey. And the boot too. But I wrote it down. And I put it up on the refrigerator. I sent it out into the newspaper. I said, letter to the editor. I put it down. I put my foot down. I didn't put boots on the ground, but I put my foot down. And I went around, and I said, you got to turn the frown upside down. And now this is just becoming Joe Biden does Dr. Seuss. I'm evil. I'm evil, guys. I'm working on an evil plan that you have no idea about. It involves jet skis. I don't know what I'm saying. Boy, is this going to be a tough one to get through. Do I have a final point to make? Something annoying me? Am I annoyed? Call in. Call in if you're annoyed. Call in. Come on. 781-555-6802. Call in. No one's calling in? Oh, someone's calling in. Oh, someone called in. Hold on. Hello? You're on the air? Oh, you know what? Fuck. I don't think that the audience is going to be able to hear your line. Yeah, nah, it's not going to work if I just hold it close to the microphone. All right, you just ask me and I'll repeat it. Why am I such a fucking loser? Okay, all right, that's enough of that caller. That was a bad plan. Why am I such a... These kids these days, the prank callers. Oh, my God. I'm going to go turn my AC on, and remember, we turn on our ACs, because saving electricity is just not something that we do in America. Good night.